Namaste, everybody, and welcome to Education Talk on Radio Kantipur, Radio Rastico. My name is Smita. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest with us, someone whose work beautifully connects human behavior, marketing, and technology. So, to introduce our guest, she is Claire Almand. For the past 15 years, Claire Almand has been building her career at this unique intersection, creating impact and innovation every step of the way. During her MBA journey, she discovered MPOWER Financing, an organization dedicated to empowering global students through access to education, and she is instantly connected with its powerful mission. Fast forward to today, Claire has helped empower support over 25,000 students worldwide, opening doors to brighter futures across continents. And now she is here in Nepal. That's a good news for all of us. Excited to share and expand that mission right here among us. So let's welcome the dynamic and inspiring Claire Almand to the show. Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
So, how is Nepal treating you so far?
Oh, pretty good so far. I love your food.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So what did you eat?
So far, I've had some momos. I've had dalbat. There's some plate with an egg and a bunch of cool little curries around it.
Okay.
That's been good.
So that's a main dish.
Yeah.
Nepali
So
dish, yeah.
everything so far has been fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long are you going to be here?
So I'll be here for the next week.
Next week. Okay. Short. You came for a short period of time?
Short period of time. I have a
Okay.
trek planned as well. Big hiker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right. So let's come to business. That's why you are here. That's the reason why you are here for. So you've spent the past 15 years at the fascinating intersection of human behavior, marketing, and technology. That's quite a unique blend, actually, in Nepal. Could you tell our listener a bit about what drew you to this path and how that journey led you to Empower Financing? And could you explain its core mission and what kind of student you primarily serve?
Yeah, so I got my career started in psychology. I've always wanted to help people achieve whatever dreams they have. And during my undergrad, I met so many international students who were truly inspiring. They came to the U.S. to change the world, to bring this great knowledge back to where they're from. And that inspired me as well. So during my MBA, when I found MPOWER, I was so inspired by their mission of making financing borderless, because we know U.S. education and Canada education is very expensive. And so we don't think that should be a barrier for a high-achieving student. They should be able to go pursue their dreams, ideally without worrying their family or worrying other people. And then if they so choose, they can bring that great knowledge and education back to where they're from to help improve the conditions of their community.
So it is helping out to all the students. Right. Okay. So for many Nepali families, a loan without a collateral or a cosigner sounds unusual. You know.
Yeah.
So how can they be confident that Empower Financing is trustworthy?
Yeah. So we hear that quite a lot. Actually, students sometimes say, "Hey, you sound too good to be true," and you know, our co-founders, they were international students actually in the U.S. and they had to work 4 or 5 jobs through school because no one would lend to them. And so they said there must be a better way. And so we've been around the last 11 years. So we are an established institution. We have plenty of PR. We've won numerous awards, including the Best International Student Loan from NerdWallet. But ultimately, you don't need to take our word for it. You can take the word of our students. You can look on YouTube and see the testimonials from our students, including students from Nepal. As well as go to Trustpilot. We have over 4,000 reviews from customers and an average review of 4.8 out of 5 stars. So like I said, we're a business. Don't take our word for it. Take the word of the people we help and our students.
So you need to check your website first.
Oh, that'd be a good start. Yeah, you can go to empowerfinancing.com, of course. But like I said, on YouTube, you'll find plenty of testimonials from our students as well.
That's right. So what ways in Empower's student loan different from the other ones, you know, the ones you usually get from Nepali banks?
Yeah, so there's a long list of things. I'm going to try to make it concise. The main difference is that we're a loan in USD. So we're going to pay your school directly. So it's very simple for the student and the family. And so let's say you get a loan with MPOWER. We're going to pay the school the tuition and living expenses. and the school will then send you the living expenses. That way, you don't have to worry about the currency in Nepal because everything's in USD and it is so simple. Next, we're a fixed rate loan, which basically means your payment never changes. So most local banks are variable rate. That means with market conditions, the interest rate may go up or down, and so it's hard to plan. So fixed rate means once you sign that loan offer, it never changes. You have one steady payment. The last item I'm going to highlight, outside of being no cosigner, no collateral, I think we already mentioned that we're taking a bet on your future potential. We have a variety of value-add services because we know when students are successful, MPOWER is too. So we help students with admissions resources if they're unsure how to get started in applying to school. We also help with visa prep. We've talked to many students and we know that visa interview can be really stressful. So we have a free course for our students so they can learn how to put the best foot forward in their visa interview, as well as we have live coaching for mock interviews for that F1 visa prep. Last, we have a career services program. So that way students know how to prep their resume. They know how to do an interview in the US or Canada. So that way when they're applying for internships or OPT, they know how to compete with Americans and ultimately get the opportunity they're thinking about. Or they may want to bring that education back home and they learn how basically to successfully build a career in their home country as well.
You said you pay directly to the university, right?
We do, correct.
So could you clarify the payment process for both the tuition and living expenses?
Absolutely. So it works typically like this. Let's say you get approved for a loan of $40,000, and that's how much you need for your education. Once you're approved, MPOWER will talk to your school and say, hey, how much money does the student need for the first semester? The school will communicate with us, and then we'll send that amount, let's say $20,000, to the school. The school will remove tuition and send the rest of the money to the student's bank account. So it really is very simple for the student. Once you basically get the money from the school, you don't have to worry about a thing. And so once your loan offer is signed, everything else is taken care of. There's one more thing I want to mention, though. So let's say you needed $20,000 for both semesters, but you get an on-campus job for the second semester, you get a scholarship for the second semester. You can then talk to your school and say, hey, I don't need the loan anymore. And MPOWER won't send the money. And if we never send the money, you never pay interest on it. It just goes away.
Okay, so the student can stop the loan.
Absolutely, at any time, as long as the money hasn't yet been sent to the school, you can stop the loan. And so if it turns out you come into some money or you don't need it, you're not forced to use it.
Okay, that's interesting. So can you please explain it more?
Sure.
Since MPOWER doesn't take property like home or land as collateral, what factors do you consider before approving a student's loan? Because that's very important for all the students that might be confused about it. So what do you say? What are the requirements?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So first, we support the top 500 schools in the United States and Canada. And so we look at the data. And if the school has data showing that international students are successful, they're able to get jobs, they can pay back the loan, etc., we'll fund those programs. So first thing is you need to be attending one of those 500 schools in the United States or Canada. So that's requirement number one. Requirement number two is actually your profile and what you want to do with your career. If you want to study STEM or an MBA, we know those careers, no matter where you are quite lucrative. So that means you can take on a large loan size in the United States or Canada and pay it back pretty simply. The average repayment time for our students is 5 years, even though it's a 10-year repayment period. So if you are pursuing STEM or MBA masters, then we know those students are going to be successful as well. The last thing we look at is the profile. The information you needed to apply to school we'll also look at. So for example, your transcripts, your work experience, your resume, whatever you needed to apply to school, MPOWER will also look at that. We'll put in all this data into our algorithm. And based on our algorithm, we'll figure out if over that 10-year period, and that's how much we'll lend to you.
Okay, so another thing which might be quite interesting for all of us, the students who really wanted to go to abroad for studies, they might be curious to know about this fact that as MPOWER doesn't ask for collateral, so how does that work? Does it mean students have to pay higher interest? That's important for Nepali
So I actually
people.
think we're quite competitive with the local rates. Right now, our lowest rate is 9.99, and that's 10.8 rate. It's a fun term in the United States. And so we are slightly higher than some banks that offer collateral, but in return, parents' house is on the line, knowing their parents' credit is on the line is extremely stressful. And it's hard to study and do a one. And so actually, our default rate is less than 1%. Our students are highly successful, highly motivated.
How will they pay back? Is it like monthly or yearly? What kind of process is that?
Yeah, so the way it works is when you're in school, you'll pay interest-only payments, and that keeps the principal from ballooning too high, which is a little bit different than other banks. And those payments are typically pretty small. You make those small payments until 6 months after you
Until 6
graduate.
months, okay.
Yeah, so there's a grace period so you can get a job or
That's
whatever
true,
it is you want to
true,
do.
true.
Then you get the 10-year repayment period, and that's where principal kicks in. And so that's the main loan payment. For most of our students, I said this earlier, the 10-year repayment is what you're obligated to do, but the average repayment time is 5 years. That means half of our students pay it back much faster because of the type of careers they're able to score. And so once the loan is paid off, you're done. We have no prepayment penalties. So for example, if you get a really good signing bonus for $10,000 and want to pay it off all at once, that's fine. There's no penalty to you. The entire loan is paid off, no extra charges, and you're done. So if you're really successful, we're not going to penalize you for it.
True. So can you tell us where Empower offers its loans right now? Are they mostly for students in the U.S., as you said, U.S. and Canada, and studying programs like STEM and MBA?
Yeah, that's you got it correct. So we support the top 500 schools in the United States and Canada. We focus on master's students studying STEM, and if you're unfamiliar, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. We do healthcare, and of course, business, MBA, so like finance, marketing, etc. Those careers have the best outcomes for not just international students, for Americans as well. So that's why we focus there. There's also a huge deficit of those workers around the world, and so the opportunities there are immense.
Okay, so you can choose however way they want to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how flexible is Empower's funding? What is the maximum loan amount? Is it 10,000, 20,000? Is it more? Can students borrow only what they need? Maybe just tuitions?
Yep. So the maximum loan amount is $100,000 USD. So it's actually quite high and works for most schools. Now, some students go to programs that are quite affordable, so they'll get approved for a lower amount because they just don't need that much.
Yeah.
What many students do is they apply for as much as possible because what happens is, let's say you're successful and you don't need all the money. It goes away. But what if you run into a healthcare problem? What if you need a laptop? What if you don't like your roommates and want to live somewhere else? So what they'll do is that they'll tell their school, hey, this semester, I actually need more money from MPOWER. The school tells us and we'll send it straight to you. So if you need less money, we can give you less money and you don't pay interest on it. If you need more money and you haven't hit 100,000 yet, we can also do that as well.
Okay. So do students need to tell you the reasons why they are seeking for the loan?
They don't
Purpose?
actually.
No?
And they so ultimately this is your school's policy. So the schools determine how the loan can be used. So what most schools do is we send the money to the school, they remove tuition, and then send living expenses. And living expenses is quite broad. That can be your rent, that can be food, that can be a laptop. Anything you need to live, the loan can be used for. Now, in Canada, There are some schools that don't allow living expenses. And so we encourage students to talk to their school and see what the policy is before making this big decision, just in case they're going to one of the schools in Canada that have a few more restrictions.
So students go abroad for better careers,
Of course.
as we know. Once they graduate, how does MPOWER support its students in navigating the U.S. and Canadian job markets?
Yeah, so we have a program we launched called our Career Accelerator, and it has a few different pieces. The first is that we've learned that students are best equipped when they start prepping before they even leave their home country. So we have a boot camp that we put our customers into. It's optional; you're not forced to take it. But this way, when you hit the ground in the United States or Canada, you're already ahead of the other students there. You have a resume that's up to par. You have a LinkedIn. You're ready to start looking for internships and opportunities from day one. So we make sure that you're ready to go. When you're in school, we have ongoing classes for all of our customers to where we sort of walk you through best practices. We do interview prep. We look at your resume, kind of some of the same stuff. We encourage you on how to shortlist companies. We actually have a partner known as Frog Hire. This helps you identify different jobs that make sense for your profile and also jobs that sponsor for OPT. So that way you're not struggling to find jobs that sponsor. And if you don't know what OPT is, that's occupational practical training. If you're going to one of these STEM careers, that means you get 3 years of work in the United States legally. So it's a great opportunity for students to put that degree into practice and get some work experience immediately without too much hassle. Last, for the Career Accelerator, we also have some partners and career coaches that we can arrange for you if you're really struggling through this journey.
So you have talked about this topic earlier, but then can you please elaborate if students decide to return to Nepal? I'm talking about Nepali students. After graduation, can they still pay back the loan effectively while earning income in Nepal?
Absolutely. In fact, many of our students decide to go back to their home country because some of them took the journey because they want to make their community better. And that's a really admirable reason. So we have a partner called Flywire that enables you to pay back the loan anywhere around the world that has internet. So if you want to come back to Nepal and really help that community, absolutely. We do encourage students to do their research to make sure the job they're interested in makes sense in Nepal. And so, you would need to figure out if you want to be an art history teacher versus a computer scientist, which career makes more sense for you back in your home country. So we do encourage that research. But ultimately, our students in Africa in particular have had great success going back home and helping their community. And so we're starting to see the same thing in our South Asian markets as well.
Okay, so MPOWER researches about that, or a student need to tell that thing?
You mean where they are in the world?
Yeah.
They don't actually need to tell us.
Oh, okay.
They just need to make the payment on time. Now, if you run into some unfortunate event, let's say, unfortunately, a parent passes away, you lost your job, something unfortunate happens, we are a compassionate company. If you let our servicing team know, we can come up with a plan for you that makes more sense given the circumstances. So as long as you're actively communicating with us about your circumstances, we can be flexible. Where students sometimes mess up is they don't tell us, and then they start stressing out, they stop paying, and so that doesn't help the student, that doesn't help MPOWER. So as long as they're actively communicating with our team, we can work with them.
Okay, they need to convince as well, right?
They just need to talk. They need to reach back out.
That's right. That's a must. Beyond the loan, what resources does MPOWER provide to help Nepali students build this U.S. credit history or manage their finances abroad successfully?
That is a really good question. Most people don't realize that your credit history doesn't follow you when you move countries. So if you're in Nepal and have a great credit score or credit history, in the U.S., you would have a 0. Just like when I travel countries, my credit score turns into 0. And so when you start making on-time payments with MPOWER, we report that to the credit bureaus. And so you start building a credit score immediately. Now, you can also get a credit card, etc., but that takes much longer to build a good credit score.
For how long?
It depends on the student. I actually don't quite know. That's more the credit bureau's data. But when you have a loan, either an education loan, a car loan, a house loan, that builds credit much faster because it's typically a much bigger amount, to be honest. And so when you get that good credit history, by the time you graduate, you're on a similar foot as Americans. And I want to give you a little bit more context. When I got my first car and needed a car loan, they checked my credit history, and that's how they determined my interest rate. When I got my first apartment, they checked my credit history, and that's how they determined if I was eligible for the apartment and my security deposit. When I was promoted to director, my company did a credit check to make sure that I was able to deal with money effectively. And so having a credit history in the US or Canada, if you're planning to stay there, is extremely important for career mobility and just being successful. So I encourage you, whether or not you proceed with MPOWER and you're interested in studying abroad, look into how to build your credit history in either the US or Canada.
So whatever loans you take, you need to pay on time.
Yeah,
that's how you make a
of
credit
course.
history good, right?
So if you're not familiar with credit, typically what you do is if you make on-time payments, that makes your credit score go up. If you are late, that makes it go down. If you default, it decreases it even further. And so having on-time payments means that you're more likely to get low interest rates from other financial providers and more opportunities sometimes from jobs.
So what trends have you observed in the global student market that informed your decision to intensify your focus on Nepal now?
So we saw data from countries around the world, and some markets are increasing their study abroad population, and some are decreasing. Nepal actually has a population that's increasing year on year quite significantly, and especially in the master's domain for STEM. We saw that in the last year, over 6,000 students decided to pursue their master's in the US or Canada, and they're actually going to really good programs and schools. And so that's really encouraging for us. We also saw the visa rates in Nepal are actually quite strong compared to some other countries. And so seeing these positive signs was really inspiring for us. We really want to go where the market's increasing. But we also had a lot of your local partners contact us. So you have a lot of education consultancies. And they reached out saying, hey, we have a great opportunity, but some of our students are struggling a bit with financing. And so based with these local partnerships, we're able to best guide students. They understand the local customs and what families care about. And so if you want to talk to someone in person to really make sure MPOWER is a good fit and to get that guidance, you can talk to one of our local partners now. And these local partners that have reached out to us sort of encouraged us and showed us, we met a lot of students, they showed us the schools you're going to. And so we're confident that Nepal is the next great market for us, and we're excited to get started.
I think this is the good opportunity for Nepali students as well. So what are the MPOWER's long-term commitment to Nepal? Can we expect more localized resources or partnership in the coming years?
Absolutely.
As you said, local partnerships is with consultancies, right?
Absolutely. So we are currently working with some of your local businesses. They're both consultancies as well as a wonderful agency that's really helping us connect with students. And so we're looking to sign as many as possible. We would love to partner with Nepal businesses to really make sure that no matter where you are in Nepal, you're able to find someone that can help you. And so, of course, if you're interested in working with MPOWER, please reach out.
Yeah. So have you reached out to the students?
So we have. We've
directly.
Yeah. So we've set up. So I'm here for a week. We've set up coffee chats with a lot of our students, and so throughout this week, we're going to meet with a bunch of our students just to learn more about them and
what
see.
are the feedbacks they're giving to you?
Oh, so actually, I got here yesterday, so it's a little bit, and it's actually in a few days. So it hasn't happened yet. So excited to talk to students, but not quite yet.
Hopefully. So what is the one key takeaway or message you want Nepali parents and students to remember about MPOWER financing today?
Yeah, so we are unlike many of the banks you're used to. We are fully digital. We are straightforward, we are transparent, and we are ethical. So if you're looking for a trustworthy partner that doesn't just stop when you start paying back the loan, we're with you from the beginning, and we're with you all the way to the end, whether that's through admission services, visa coaching, or career services, as well as financing to make sure your entire journey is as stress-free as possible so you can focus on education and yourself and your community.
Okay, so you said you'll be meeting some students very soon. So is there any special events that you're creating in coming days?
So we have partnered with a few different consultancies, Next, Alpha Beta. And so if you go to their websites, they'll have those online, and then we'll see you there.
Okay, so can you please, elaborate and tell all the students who are willing for a loan and who are willing to study abroad in a very simple language and step by step, like what kind of process is there to apply for this loan, who are interested, and can you let them know in a very, very simple way and step by step?
Absolutely. So you get started by going to the MPOWER financing website. So anywhere in the world with the internet, it's mpowerfinancing.com. MPOWER is MPOWER, financing.com. On our website, you'll see a button to apply now. You'll check your eligibility. It takes about 30 seconds. Put a little bit of information in about you. Once you find out if you're eligible, the application is about 30 minutes online. So we're going to ask you for a few different types of information. We're going to ask you your personal details, like your name, address, etc. We're going to ask you about your background, such as your education, work experience, LinkedIn, and resume. We're going to ask you about your education, so your transcript, your undergrad, and any test scores you needed to apply for school. We'll also ask you for that. So, for example, if your school asked for the GRE or the TOEFL, we'll also ask for the GRE or the TOEFL. If your school didn't ask for anything, we also don't need anything. Next, we'll figure out your financial situation. How much money do you actually need for school? Do you have any scholarships? Do you have any savings? That sort of thing. Once you get through this 30 minutes of information, if you're a really strong candidate, you'll be given an immediate offer. If you're a less strong profile, a human will look at your application and get back to you in about 3 to 5 business days. Once you're approved for the loan, we're going to ask you for supporting documents. So whatever you said in the first half of this application process, we'll ask for a document supporting that. So for example, your passport, your transcripts, bank account, whatever you said, we just need to know that it's real. So we trust you, but we're going to verify. Once we check your documents, that's it. That's the entire process. It typically takes students 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how prepared they are to apply. But as mentioned, it's fully online. You're able to do it from the comfort of your home, and you can do it as soon as 1 to 2 weeks. Once you are approved for the loan and you sign your loan offer, we'll communicate with your school, and your school will tell us when we should send the money. And if you want a different date, no problem. You would tell your school when you need it, and your school would tell us to adjust our plans. Once you arrive in the US or Canada, that money would be in your bank account, wherever you told the school to send it, and then you're done. That's the process. It's quite straightforward. And so something we like to do is make sure our students don't have to worry about any of this. And so that's why we're doing it all with your school, and you don't have to worry about transferring money in any way. So just to summarize, you check your eligibility in 30 seconds. You apply over the course of 30 minutes. Once you're approved, you submit the documents you need, whatever you said earlier. And then last, MPOWER takes care of the rest with your school. So that's the entire process to apply for a loan. It's very different than many local banks, purely because we're not going to visit your house. We're not going to verify your details with your parents. You just need a computer, and that's it.
Okay, so you can apply online independently, but the culture we have in our society is the people go to consultancies and seek for help. So it helps. As you said, you have collaborated with some of the consultancies, so they can go there as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're someone that wants a little bit more support, you have a few different options. You can go to one of the consultancies and they can guide you through the process. We also have coaching that's digital. And so if you're someone that needs a little bit more support, you would reach out to MPOWER. You can go to our website and either sign up for the application walkthrough event if you're a little bit more shy and don't want to talk to someone directly, or you can reach out and our customer service team can help you. So just go to our website, empowerfinancing.com, and figure out which support option works best for you: independent, one-on-one, or digital coaching. And last, of course, our local partnerships can certainly help you.
Okay. So let's talk about MPOWERs and what are your expectations?
So we expect students that are driven and willing to work through the challenges of study abroad. I'm not going to lie. It's not the easiest thing to do to leave your community and go to a global market. But for the students that have that ambition and career clarity, you can achieve great and wonderful things, either in a new country or, like many of our students, go back to their communities to make a huge difference. And so we want people to remember that if you work at MPOWER or work with MPOWER, we are transparent, we are straightforward, and we're going to treat you right. And you don't have to take our word for it. You can go see our students online on YouTube, or you can read our reviews. So ultimately, if you move forward with MPOWER, just know that we're your partner in your success. We don't leave you alone once the loan is issued to your school.
Okay, so we are in the end of our show. So anything you want to say to Nepali students or anyone who is listening to us?
Yeah. MPOWER is a different product than you're used to. I know that it may sound too good to be true, but we are real. We're here to make a difference in Nepal, and our local partners will help make sure that this process is straightforward for you and that you can achieve your dreams when you study abroad.
All right, Claire, it's been wonderful having you on the show today. Thank you so much for sharing insights about MPOWER financing and how it's helping students achieve their dreams globally and now here in Nepal. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been just a pleasure to get to know everyone in Nepal so far. And if you're a student, would love to talk to you this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So people, we hope this conversation gave you a clearer picture of the opportunities available for studying abroad without the usual hurdles. For more information, you can check out MPOWER's website and see how it could support your educational journey. Thank you all for tuning in to Education Talk on Radio Kantipur. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.